What's up, everybody? I'm launching a brand new podcast called HillPhantom's Field Notes. This is an area where I can go a bit deeper, share a bit more about behind the scenes, my notes, and some of my deep research. Now, this podcast is based off of a full article that I wrote that is posted over at Substack. So if you're interested, that has all the cited sources and gives you even a greater amount of information. So with that, I'm giving this a try. Let me know what you think. And it's a little bit different than just a podcast. I think you'll see why, and you'll see the reason I did it like I did. So nonetheless, deeper dives, more research, richer content, but maybe a little bit different of a visual style. So with that, I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to HillPhantom Field Notes. This is where I think through technology, AI, policy, products, infrastructure, the outdoors, and the real world cost of progress. And today, I want to talk about something I've been thinking about a lot lately: AI's missing feature and the dangerous bargain that comes with that. Because I used to fear AI, not in a casual way, but in a, oh my goodness, this might take my job someday kind of way. I mean, I really feared it. I feared that AI was going to replace me. I feared it was going to replace programmers, designers, writers, office workers, data workers, and eventually even people doing physical jobs once robotics caught up. And that fear did not come from reading headlines. It came from experience. You see, about 15 years ago, I was at a conference for Google Partners. And while I was there, I saw something that shocked me. I saw an early computer AI system responding to email on its own. No human even writing the reply. Just two AI bots, early AI bots, chatting with each other. No person manually typing the response. They were doing it. Just a system that could understand enough text and context to respond intelligently. And I also saw robotic systems using drones and basic building blocks to construct structures. That was one of those moments where it kind of clicked in my brain. I remember thinking, this is not just going to affect factory work. This is going to hit white collar work too. Programmers, data entries, admin jobs, customer service, eventually design, eventually content, eventually physical labor once robots got better. At the time, I thought programmers might be one of the first to go. I had seen early AI coding tools, and as someone who had worked in web development, design, cloud systems, networking, education, IoT, embedded software, and systems, I understood how disruptive this could become. Then modern AI arrived. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Meta AI, coding agents, automated tools, agentic workflows, vibe coding, AI-generated images, AI-generated videos, and at first, it confirmed my fear. I thought, we're cooked, bro. I thought AI agents were going to take over everything. But then I actually started working with these systems, not just prompting them for fun, not just asking them to write a poem or give me 10 video ideas. I mean, I really started building with them. I used AI to help create software, apps, workflows, guides, websites, research documents, agentic systems, second brain tools, automated flows, creative projects. And after years of doing that, my view has changed. AI is powerful. AI is useful. AI is going to change nearly everything. But AI is not ready to replace humans the way people think it is. At least not yet. Because the deeper I worked with AI, the more obvious one thing became. AI's missing feature is memory. And memory is the dangerous bargain we face. Now, when I say memory, I just don't mean, hey, remember that I like this type of coffee. I mean real memory, project memory, business memory, personal memory, context memory. The ability for AI systems to know what the project we are working on, what the rules are, what files matter most, what assets are approved, what previous decisions were made, what style guide we are following, and what you should never change or what you should change. That kind of memory AI needs to become truly useful. But the problem is, memory, it's not free. Memory requires data. Data requires storage. Storage requires data centers. Data centers require energy, water, cooling, land, chips, networks, and infrastructure. And the more memory we give AI, the more trust we hand over to it. And that is a dangerous bargain. To make AI better, we have to give it more of ourselves, more of our data, more of our business documents, more of our creative work, more of our habits, more of our private information, more of our resources, and maybe eventually more control. That is the tension I kind of want to unpack, because AI is brilliant until the project gets long. Chat-based AI is incredible at certain things. It can help you think, it can help you summarize research, it can organize messy ideas, it can help write, rewrite, edit, structure, brainstorm, and even challenge your own assumptions. When it works in that mode, it does really feel like magic. But when you ask it to hold a complex project together over time, the cracks show up fast. The model forgets. It becomes inconsistent. It fails to follow strict rules. It struggles with long sessions. It loses track of what has already been created. It breaks workflows that it helped to design. It confidently says, "I understand," and then does the wrong thing directly after that. And that is not just annoying, that is a trust problem. Because once trust breaks, automation breaks. Now, I saw this clearly while working on a guide for the Insta360 Luna Ultra. The goal was not just to write some content. The goal was to build a repeatable system. In my ideal world, if I get a new camera, I should be able to say, create a guide in this format. Use these approved assets, follow this style guide, reference the previous pages that were already created for other cameras, keep the same structure consistent, make it unique, but keep it on brand. That is really the dream. An AI production system that can help create consistent, useful, repeatable work. And to be fair, AI helped me a lot in the beginning. The research phase went really well. The outline phase went well. Content creation went well. Editing went well. It helped me organize the ideas and make the guide more beginner friendly. But then we moved from content into production, and that is where things started to fall apart. We created locked headers, locked footers, approved icons, page rules, structures, style direction. We created rules for what should not change, and the AI kept breaking them. It would forget the page order. It would use the wrong assets. It would invent new headers and footers, even though the approved ones already existed. It would misunderstand how much content should go on one page versus being split across 2 pages. It would drift from the rules. It would create something that looked finished, but was actually not consistent at all with the rest of the guide. At some point, I realized I was not building the guide anymore. I was managing the AI and its faults. I was creating rules. I was reminding it of those rules. I was correcting broken rules. I was adding more rules and then watching it break those rules again and again. And that is the hidden cost of AI that nobody wants to talk about. AI does not always remove work. Sometimes it moves work. Instead of doing the design, writing, coding, editing, and organizing yourself, you end up supervising the AI that is supposed to be doing it for you. That can still be useful, but it's not a replacement. And this is where I think a lot of AI hype gets dishonest. Because whenever someone criticizes AI, someone eventually says, you just don't know how to prompt correctly. And honestly, that answer is way too easy. Sure, prompting matters. Of course it matters. But prompting is maybe 1/4 of serious AI work. If you are building complex systems, consistent systems, the problem is not just the prompt. The problem is memory, context, rules, permissions, assets, folders, style guides, project structure, source quality, verification, and workflow discipline. A good prompt can't magically fix a system that can't reliably remember the project. An elegant prompt can't replace persistent context. If I tell an AI, use only this logo, the system should know where that logo lives. It should check the folder. It should read the style guide. It should verify the rules. It should compare it against previous pages. It should ask questions if it's unsure. It should not just generate first and then make me inspect the wreckage later. That's backwards. The future version of AI should be more pre-work before it creates. It should check context first, then create, then verify, then ask for approval. That is how real teams work. That is how good production workflows work. That is how businesses operate when they care about quality, consistency, and trust. And this is not just a creator problem. It is not just me fighting with ChatGPT over a PDF guide. Companies are starting to run into the same, wall at scale. We are already seeing reports that companies are spending heavily on AI while struggling to measure actual return. We're seeing software teams generate code faster, but then the bottleneck into review, validation, governance, and security always seems to cause problems. We are seeing situations where AI does not remove the work. It just moves the work. Someone still has to review the code. Someone still has to validate the data. Someone still has to check the sources. Someone still has to secure the system, and someone still has to own the consequences. That is where this all gets serious. Because the danger is not just bad graphics or awkward writing. The danger is bad code, bad data, security vulnerabilities, fake sources, deep fakes, legal exposure, and truth itself becoming harder to verify. I worry about vibe-coded applications built by people who don't understand code. And I worry even more when those people don't have a shred of understanding of security. AI can help someone build something that appears to work while hiding vulnerabilities that person doesn't even know how to see. If you never built software by hand, you may not know the questions to ask. You may not recognize bad architecture. You may not catch the insecure authentication, exposed secrets, flawed permissions, or bad logic. The same thing applies to data. AI can summarize false information in a very convincing way. It can pull from bad sources. It can blur the line between verified research, internet noise, and confident nonsense. And now we are entering a world where deep fakes, fake screenshots, synthetic media, and AI-generated claims are going to scale. This is a Pandora's box. Bad code creates security risk. Bad data creates truth risk. Deep fakes create truth risks, and all create legal risks. This is why humans still matter. Not because humans are perfect, we are not. Humans have bias, but AI models have bias. Human institutions have bias. Training data has bias. The question is not whether humans or AI are pure. The question is how we build systems where human experience, judgment, skepticism, and accountability can work with AI instead of blindly surrendering to it. I do not think the future is simply humans versus AI, at least not yet. The better framing is that humans need to become maestros. A maestro does not play every instrument. A maestro conducts the system. This is how I see the human role with AI. AI needs us as educators. It needs us as advocates. It also needs us as warning voices. And it needs us as maestros who can conduct it, guide it, correct it, challenge it, and make sure it stays aligned with the mission. If I did not know code from years of hands-on work, I would not be able to vibe code applications effectively. If I did not understand design, I would not know how to guide AI towards better visual decisions. If I did not understand cloud systems, data, networking, IoT, and workflows, I would not know when an AI system was giving me something that sounded good, but was actually really wrong. You see, experience matters, taste matters, domain knowledge matters, judgment matters. And that is exactly why the idea of replacing experienced people overnight is dangerous. AI can help a skilled person move faster, but AI in the hands of someone who does not understand the work can create a very convincing mess. So how do we make AI better? Again, the obvious answer is memory. Not vague memory, real memory, useful memory. An AI system should be able to connect to a project folder and understand these are the approved logos. These are the brand rules. This is the style guide. These are the constraints. These are the things you are never allowed to change. It should be able to read markdown files before it creates. It should be able to check assets before designing. It should be able to reference previous work before writing. It should be able to understand the difference between a locked rule and a loose suggestion. That would make AI dramatically more useful. It would be reducing the babysitting. It would be reducing the correction loops. It would make workflows more consistent. It would let humans spend less time repeating themselves and more time actually directing the work. But that is where the bargain starts, because the better AI gets at remembering us, the more useful it becomes. But the more it remembers, the more we have to give it. Our files, our preferences, our business documents, trade secrets, intellectual property, creative ideas, client data, workflows, our history, our habits, our voice, our decisions. For individuals, that is personal. For businesses, that is existential. Imagine giving an AI system access to your company's documents, internal strategy, financial reports, customer data, product roadmaps, legal documents, source code, brand rules, and trade secrets. That might be exactly what makes AI useful. It is also exactly what makes it dangerous. And that's why AI memory cannot just be controlled by AI companies. In my ideal world, AI memory would be controlled by the person, the user, or the company that owns the data, not only by the model provider. I think the future should look more like a locally controlled data vault, a data set that belongs to you or the company, a system that you can take online or offline at will, a system you can connect or disconnect to different models at will, a system where you decide which AI is allowed to access which parts, a system where you can revoke that access, audit what was used, delete what should be deleted, and control the memory layer yourself. That is the kind of system that would make AI more trustworthy. But to get there, we need laws. We need regulations. We need standards. We need rules around AI memory, data use, business IP, consent, model access, and deletion. Just like crypto needed regulation to become more mainstream and trusted, AI needs serious legal policy before we hand the keys to our lives and businesses over to AI models and the companies that control them. But there is another part of this bargain. Memory is not just a privacy issue, it's physical. AI feels like software, but it's not just software. AI needs chips, servers, cooling, electricity, water, land, networks, and data centers. And if the missing feature is memory, then building that memory at scale means building more physical infrastructure. That means more energy demand, more cooling systems, more water use, more pressure on local communities, more zoning questions, more environmental impact and impact studies. This is where AI conversation becomes bigger than whether ChatGPT can write an email. It becomes about power grids, water rights, urban planning, pollution, land use, and who gets to decide where the massive data centers are built. The demand is becoming so large that some have proposed solutions starting to sound like science fiction. China has already experimented with underwater data centers, using seawater and desalinated seawater to help with cooling. There are also serious discussions and research around space-based compute, where satellites could use solar power and carry machine learning hardware in orbit. On paper, I understand the appeal. Put data centers underwater to cool them. Put compute in space to access solar power and reduce land constraints. But the fact that we are even having these conversations should make us all pause. Because whether the solution is underwater, underground, in a desert, next to a nuclear plant, or someday in orbit, the point is all the same. AI is not just an app. AI is becoming one of the biggest infrastructure questions of our lifetime, and that is a dangerous bargain. To make AI useful enough to trust, we need memory. But to give AI memory, we need data. To store and process the data, we need infrastructure. To build that infrastructure, we need energy, water, land, chips, and political decisions. And to make the whole system work, we need to hand over more trust to the companies and systems that are already more powerful than most people fully understand. I want to be clear, I'm not anti-AI. I use AI constantly. I build with it, experiment with it. I believe it can help humanity. I believe it can help us learn, create, research, organize, discover, and solve problems we probably could have never without it. But I also think we need to be honest about what it is. AI is not magic. AI is not free. AI is not automatically cheaper. AI is not automatically better. And AI is not ready to be trusted without human oversight. The future I want is not a future where humans are removed from the loop. It is a future where humans become better conductors of intelligent systems, where AI helps us do more, but does not quietly take control of our data or infrastructure or labor or water or society. The future requires regulation. It requires ethical design. It requires local and business controlled memory. It requires transparency. It requires environmental planning. And it requires people who understand both the promise and the danger. That is why I no longer simply fear AI replacing me. Now I understand AI needs me more than ever. It needs me as an educator, an advocate, and as a warning voice. And of course, it needs me as a maestro. Because the dangerous bargain is this. To fix AI, we have to give it the very things that make it dangerous: our data, our trust, our resources, our infrastructure, and eventually more control over the systems that shape our lives. AI may help humanity advance, but only if we are honest about the price. This has been HillPhantom Field Notes. If you want the full essay, sources, and links behind this episode, you can read it on my Substack. And if this kind of thing matters to you, technology, AI, policy, infrastructure, ethics, and where all this is headed, consider subscribing, sharing, and following along, because the conversation is just getting started.